years, they lived the Hollywood dream. Red carpets, blockbuster movies, millions of fans. Then one day, they walked away from all of it. No scandal, no bankruptcy, no career collapse. One became a lawyer, one works in a hospital, one teaches science to teenagers, and another disappeared from Hollywood completely to take care of animals. These actors had fame, money, and everything most people spend their lives chasing. So why would they leave it behind on purpose? What did they see inside Hollywood that made ordinary life feel better than stardom? And after giving up fame, are they finally happier now, or secretly filled with regret? Let's take a closer look. Number 1. Peter Ostrum. Peter Ostrum was born in Dallas, Texas in 1957. As a kid, Peter scored the biggest acting opportunity of his life, playing Charlie Bucket in the beloved 1971 classic Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Even though we've seen different versions of this movie over the years, for generations of audiences, the moment they think of that poor but lucky kid who snagged the golden ticket into that magical chocolate factory, Peter Ostrum's face instantly pops up. After the massive success of the film, Peter Ostrum was offered the chance to continue an acting career with very lucrative deals. He later shared in an interview with the George Eastman Museum that he was offered a 3-picture contract.
Sure. I had an opportunity after the film was made. Wolper presented me, and I guess Julie also, that I just found out was a 3-picture deal, whatever that meant. And he didn't have any of the films, I had no idea what I would be signing up for. And at that point, I didn't know if I wanted to be an actor the rest of my life. And I enjoyed it. It was a great experience, but I just wanted to go back, be in 7th grade and play soccer. That's what I was interested in.
But at the age of 12 or 13, Peter Ostrum seemed just like any other kid. He wanted to play, go to school, and enjoy being a normal child. Choosing a lifelong career at that age simply felt way too early. And when the time finally came to make a decision, Ostrum chose a completely different path instead of signing more movie contracts and taking advantage of his growing fame. He decided to become a veterinarian. His decision left many people wondering if he had a bad experience while filming Willy Wonka, but Peter has cleared that up.
I enjoyed doing it. I had a great time, fond memories, but I didn't think that the film industry was something that I wanted to pursue my entire life. And I had other opportunities, other interests, and I followed those paths.
Turns out, the reason behind his choice was beautifully simple. He just didn't see Hollywood as his destiny. For him, acting was just a fun childhood adventure, not a job he wanted to do for the rest of his life. Today, Peter Ostrum has spent many years working in large animal care, like cows and horses at countryside farms. He actually fell in love with the idea of becoming a vet when his parents bought a horse right after he returned home from filming Willy Wonka. He once shared this about his dream of becoming a veterinarian.
Right after the film, I started getting involved with horses, working on farms, and saw the veterinarian that came out to the farm that I worked on, and I thought, boy, this guy's got the greatest job in the world.
It's clear that this kind of work requires patience, physical labor, getting covered in dirt and mud, and it is completely the opposite of the glamorous image of a movie star. Peter Ostrum's story proves that not everyone who becomes famous wants to spend their entire life living under public attention. For him, the role of Charlie Bucket was not the beginning of a long Hollywood career. It was simply a special memory before choosing the life he truly wanted for himself. And if Peter Ostrum was part of Gen X childhood memories, then for millennials, the next former Disney Channel star was also a huge part of their teenage years. And the life she chose after Hollywood surprised people just as much. Number 2. Jennifer Stone. Jennifer Stone became best known for the sitcom Wizards of Waverly Place, where she played Harper Finkel, the best friend of Alex Russo, the character played by Selena Gomez. It was one of the biggest shows on Disney Channel and became deeply connected to the childhood memories of an entire generation that grew up watching the network. In the series, Harper was technically a supporting character, but she was incredibly memorable thanks to her funny personality, bizarre fashion choices, and the fact that she always had her own unique identity.
Yeah. What's that? A hat? Crazy, funky, junky hat. Overstuffed, hair tightly, trying to look like Keira Knightley. We've been there, we've done that. We see right through your funky hat.
After leaving Disney, instead of desperately trying to hold on to fame and the spotlight, Jennifer Stone completely changed the direction of her life. The reason behind that decision was a major health scare when she was 20 years old, as she shared.
I got type 1 diabetes when I was 20, and that inspired me to become a nurse. Diabetes affects everything. I don't know any diabetic that would say otherwise. How it affects acting and nursing is I have to be cognizant of where my devices are. In the middle of a 12-hour day, whether it's on set or at the hospital, am I checking my blood sugars enough? Am I making sure I'm dosing with insulin when it gets too high? Is my stress level stable? It's just a constant balancing act.
And by the end of 2019, Stone officially graduated from nursing school. She began working as an ER nurse right as the COVID pandemic broke out, stepping directly onto the front lines to care for patients. Jennifer later shared about that difficult period with People. I had a shift where there was a 20-year-old that had passed. We had refrigerated crates because our morgue was full. I felt like I was suffocated with suffering and demise. I was a brand new baby nurse and there's a learning curve, especially starting in the ER. It was kind of a baptism by fire for sure because it took an extreme environment and made it even more extreme. We all know that studying medicine takes a massive amount of time and effort, and graduating only to jump straight into an emergency room right in the middle of a global pandemic? That proves Jennifer is genuinely passionate and dedicated to this work. And honestly, compared to the fake drama of Hollywood, the suffering she witnessed in real hospitals was far more real than anything on television. Jennifer's story is a beautiful example of someone using a personal life crisis to pivot toward a career with deeper meaning. The actress who once brought laughter to millions on television screens chose to become the ultimate support for people at their most vulnerable in the hospital. But Jennifer Stone was not the only sitcom star who stepped away from acting to completely restart her life. Number 3. Cicely Sewell. She is remembered by many television audiences for her role as Spirit Jones in the sitcom One-on-One. It was a hit show in the early 2000s that attracted a large young audience, especially Black viewers in America who loved television sitcoms at the time. Anyone who watched One-on-One definitely remembers her unique bohemian style, bold outfits, and fiercely loyal personality. Even though she had the potential to go much further in her acting career, Cicely decided to leave Hollywood behind. She once shared this decision with Hype Plus.
What about the business that made you say, I need to leave? I need to step away from Hollywood?
I mean, apart from feeling like I was never good at it, if we're really being honest, I've never felt like I was good at it. And that's different if that's your passion. That's the deep burning desire on the inside. That wasn't my passion. I just felt like there's so much more I could be doing with my time. When I left, it was a shift of the work and famous. I have no desire to be famous. I have a desire to do something really well. After I had children, it was like, okay, so you're either gonna have to lose weight or gain weight. And I was like, the idea of whether or not I should lose weight or gain weight is wild.
The truth is, Hollywood comes with too many unspoken rules if an actor wants to succeed. You have to look or act a certain way, say certain things. It can feel like you have no control over your own life. And especially for Black actresses in the early 2000s, the beauty standards forced onto them made their careers even more difficult. The discrimination Cicely experienced from movie producers was also one of the reasons she chose to quit acting.
I would walk into a job and I'd be like, hey, this is the schedule that I need. Because I understood like my privilege of not needing a job for a long time, and be like, this is the schedule that I need because my kids are in school. And they'd be like, we'll figure it out. We'll see what we can do. And then a white woman would walk in and be like, hey, I need the schedule. And they'd be like, oh my God, you're so strong. Let's make this happen.
And this was the exact moment Cicely realized she needed an environment where she could take the reins, rather than waiting around for someone else to pick her for a role. She decided to pursue her love for food, enrolling in the famous Le Cordon Bleu College of Culinary Arts right in the Hollywood area, and began working in professional kitchens. She shared with the LA Times that she had always been passionate about cooking. Today, Cicely Sewell has successfully transformed into a professional chef and restaurateur. She and her mother previously opened a restaurant called Pinky and Red's in Berkeley, California, specializing in traditional soul food. Like so many of us, food, particularly baking, is a passion that hooked me early on. Mom had a cake decorating business growing up. I think this is where my love and addiction to baking began. On top of that, she also served as the head chef at Colors Restaurant in New York. Currently, she is the co-founder of the Kind Kitchen Group, a nonprofit organization that aims to drive social change through food, education, and community empowerment. Cicely's story proves that Hollywood is not the only path to success. She did not disappear from the spotlight because she lacked talent. She intentionally moved into a completely different field, one where she could create new value with her own hands and fully take control of her own life. And while Cicely found purpose through food and community, the next former child star chose a completely different mission: education. Number 4. Danny Lloyd. Danny Lloyd became globally famous thanks to his role as Danny Torrance in The Shining, directed by Stanley Kubrick. The movie is widely considered one of the greatest horror films in cinema history, and the image of the little boy riding his tricycle through the empty hallways of the Overlook Hotel became one of the most iconic images in pop culture. When he starred in the film, Danny Lloyd was still very young, but the role made him unforgettable to audiences around the world, especially during Halloween season. But despite having that level of worldwide recognition, he never continued building an acting career like many other child stars. As Lloyd himself once shared,
and as a child, I kept auditioning for a while, but after I quit doing that, it was, pretty much off to college, and it wasn't something that came up very often at all.
Yeah, wow.
If you were going to be a one-hit wonder child actor, what movie would you want to be in? And so I hit the lottery. Yeah, for sure.
Danny did not quit acting because he had a bad experience making the film. Clearly, he's very proud to have been part of such a legendary movie. But as he grew older, he realized acting simply did not excite him anymore. That was when he decided to pursue a normal life instead and follow his passion for biology. Nowadays, Danny Lloyd works as a biology professor. He teaches at a community college in the state of Kentucky. However, he also admitted that him being Danny Torrance from The Shining is basically the worst-kept secret at his school.
So occasionally, one of the students will come up and say something, but generally speaking, they know that I don't want to talk about it in class, or because it's a distraction. And I know it might sound a little corny, but there is a limited amount of time. I teach at a 2-year college, so there's a limited amount of time. I get to see them twice a week, that's it, so we don't have time to mess around like that.
It's clear that in his day-to-day life, Danny Lloyd is a dedicated educator, completely locked into his teaching to ensure his students get the absolute best education. But teaching biology wasn't the only surprising career move on this list. The next actor went from Hollywood sets straight into the legal world. Number 5. Jeff Cohen. Jeff Cohen rocketed to massive fame thanks to his role as Chunk in the 1985 hit movie The Goonies. This masterpiece is a classic adventure film woven into the childhood memories of millions of Americans. Even though Chunk wasn't the sole main character, he was hands down the most unforgettable. Audiences fell in love with him for his chubby appearance, natural comedic timing, expressive face, and a completely unique energy on screen. After this role, Jeff's appearance began to shift as he went through puberty, started losing weight, and that fat kid image completely vanished. As ironic as it sounds, this was the exact reason he left Hollywood, as he admitted to Variety. Puberty made that decision for me. The reason Jeff left Hollywood reveals a harsh reality about the entertainment industry. Child actors in Hollywood are often loved because of one very specific physical trait, and that image can follow them forever. But once they grow up and change, the shadow of their old role can make producers unsure about where they even fit anymore. When the funny, chubby kid role that made him famous no longer matched who he was, Jeff Cohen chose to walk away from acting instead of desperately trying to hold on to the Chunk image. As he told People magazine, "It was fun being an actor, but by the time college rolled around, I was ready to try some new things. By the time I graduated, I realized I enjoyed having a normal life, and I never went back." And that reality forced Jeff to ask himself a difficult question. If Hollywood only loved one version of him, who was he supposed to become next? Jeff chose to attend law school. He graduated from law school in 2000 and earned his Juris Doctor degree from UCLA School of Law. When talking about why he chose this path, he explained,
I got really involved in politics, and became student body president, and kind of figured out, what do I want to do? And I was uncertain, but I knew that a legal education, I wanted a graduate degree, and I knew that a legal education was something I could use if I wanted to get into politics or if I wanted to get back into the business, the entertainment business, and I just thought it was a great graduate education.
It seems like Jeff always knew exactly what he wanted and what he needed to do to achieve it. Today, Jeff Cohen is a prominent transactional entertainment and media lawyer. He is also the co-founder of Cohen Gardner LLP. And honestly, his career shift seems incredibly smart. He did not completely cut ties with Hollywood. Instead, he moved from being the person standing in front of the camera to becoming someone who understands the rules of the industry behind the scenes. Jeff's story shows just how adaptable and intelligent he was when it came to shaping the direction of his own life. And Jeff Cohen is not the only person in today's video who went from actor to lawyer. Number 6. Josh Saviano. Josh Saviano became a familiar face to television audiences through his role as Paul Pfeiffer in the sitcom The Wonder Years. The show became part of the childhood memories of an older generation of American TV viewers. In the series, Paul was the brainy, glasses-wearing best friend of the main character, Kevin Arnold, appearing consistently across all seasons. For Americans who grew up during the late 1980s and early 1990s, Josh Saviano's face was highly recognizable. But when The Wonder Years officially ended, Josh Saviano did not try to pursue his acting career. Instead, he chose to invest in academics and higher education. He shared in an interview with Richard Hsu.
I was looking for more of a meritocracy. And so when the show ended, I was done with my junior year of high school. I wanted to take a break from acting. So I went to school. I went to undergrad and I studied political science with a concentration in the Supreme Court. And so I went to law school really wanting to be a courtroom attorney. In fact, the first job I got out of law school was a private equity M&A attorney.
It seems that instead of trapping his entire identity inside the role of the nerdy best friend on television, he stepped into the real world to become a true intellectual. Today, Josh Saviano still works as a lawyer and consultant. He has worked across multiple areas of law and specializes in providing strategic consulting services related to celebrity personal branding. He mainly lives and works in New York City. Josh Saviano's story also shows that education and deep professional expertise can provide a far more stable career than constantly relying on the uncertainty of Hollywood auditions. And just like Josh, the next actress on this list also chose to leave Hollywood behind in order to pursue a much more stable and ordinary career in real life. Number 7. Carrie Henn. Carrie Henn became known to audiences around the world for playing Newt in the science fiction action film Aliens. The movie is widely considered the best installment in the Alien franchise, where she starred alongside veteran actress Sigourney Weaver. The character Newt played a central role in the story, a small but incredibly resilient child surviving in the middle of deadly alien creatures from outer space. Even though Aliens was Carrie Henn's first and only movie role, she still holds a permanent place in the hearts of science fiction fans. When talking about why she never continued taking movie projects after the success of Aliens, she said,
I started doing some auditions and I was offered parts in TV shows. And for me, I ended up turning them down because I had to sign a contract for 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
And that for me was then all through junior high and high school, which I wanted to experience life as a normal human being.
Wow.
That was 100% my decision.
Wow.
The fact that Carrie realized she wanted a normal life instead of chasing promises of fame and money in Hollywood shows just how intelligent and mature she already was, even at a very young age. And her real dream since childhood was never becoming a star. She always wanted to work in education instead, as she said.
And I'd always wanted to be a teacher, so I took the money I made and invested it into my education.
Carrie Henn currently works as a teacher in the state of California. Her life now is focused almost entirely on her family and her students, far away from the chaos and non-stop attention of the entertainment industry. And now for the final person in today's video, this might be the only one on the list who, even though no longer deeply involved in acting, still continues working in the arts in some way. Number 8. Ariana Richards. Ariana Richards became globally famous after playing Lex Murphy in the blockbuster film Jurassic Park. It was one of the highest-grossing and most revolutionary movie projects in cinema history. The scene of Lex nervously holding a spoonful of Jell-O while sitting near a deadly dinosaur, or the moment she desperately tried to restart the park's computer systems, became permanently burned into the memories of millions of viewers around the world. But as she grew older, Ariana did not continue chasing major acting roles. Instead, she discovered that she had an even stronger passion for painting. She shared her story on the Artful Painter podcast.
Art has been a huge part of my life for as long as I can remember. Even as a little girl, I was incredibly fascinated by art, and I was always drawing and painting.
Her decision to step away from Hollywood happened much more peacefully compared to some of the other stories on this list. She never completely cut ties with acting, but she changed the order of priorities in her life, focusing more on family and painting instead. Still, she has always appreciated both art forms.
And I feel like they're just multifaceted aspects of who I am. I will always love both of those areas of art. They're both arts, they're both artistic expression.
Today, Ariana Richards has built a successful career as a painter, specializing in portraits and landscapes. Occasionally, she still appears at anniversary events connected to Jurassic Park to meet fans. She respects her cinematic legacy, while also deeply valuing painting, the work that brings her joy every single day. As she told People magazine, "I wanted to boil down the whole experience of Jurassic into my art. I painted an image of me from the Jell-O scene." When you look back at all 8 of these stories, the craziest part isn't that these actors left Hollywood for ordinary jobs. It's that so many of them don't seem to regret leaving Hollywood at all. In fact, some look like they've finally found real peace and fulfillment, and honestly, they seem happier now than they ever did as celebrities. Hollywood teaches people that fame is the ultimate dream. But these actors got a taste of the spotlight and realized the life they actually wanted was something way more normal, more private, more real. So after hearing all these stories, what would you choose, fame or freedom?